Hello, and welcome to Around the Political World with John Rothman. I am your host, John Rothman. If you're a fan of the show, make sure to hit the follow button on the top right of Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you are listening at this very moment. When you hit follow, leave a review or share an episode with a friend. It helps other people discover the show, keeps us going. As I like to remind you each and every day, it expands our base. Liz Cheney has made an endorsement. The endorsement is for Kamala Harris. It is a desertion by a leading light in what was once a progressive, or at least a moderately conservative, Republican Party. Let's make it crystal clear. Endorsements don't swing elections. We know that. I recalled yesterday to some friends that in 1936, when Alf Landon challenged Franklin D. Roosevelt for the presidency, leading Democrats, including former candidates for president of the United States, nominated by the Democratic Party, chose to endorse Alf Landon. Let's remind you, John W. Davis, who was the Democratic candidate for president in 1924, endorsed Alf Landon for president. Alfred E. Smith, the former governor of New York, who was the Democratic nominee in 1928, endorsed Alf Landon for president. And there was a group called the Liberty League, which enthusiastically backed the defeat of Franklin Roosevelt, made up of leading Democratic Party former officials, including John Jacob Raskin, the former chair of the Democratic Party, and others within the party who had been active throughout the 1920s on behalf of Democratic candidates. Did that series of endorsements and that organized group make a difference in the campaign of 1936? The answer is no. In the end, Franklin Roosevelt won the election overwhelmingly, carrying all the states of the Union except Maine and Vermont. Remember the old slogan, as Maine goes, so goes the nation? Well, it was changed to as Maine goes, so goes Vermont. The simple fact is that endorsements don't necessarily matter. That includes newspaper endorsements. We remember the days when Colonel McCormick of the Chicago Tribune or William Randolph Hearst of the Examiner, particularly in San Francisco, would make major endorsements, and very often those endorsements did not matter. And indeed, that is the question when it comes to Liz Cheney. There are Republicans, many Republicans, who refuse to support Donald Trump. They include not only Liz Cheney and Adam Kinzinger, former members of Congress who were part of the January 6th committee, but it also includes officials who served in the Bush administration, in the Romney campaign, in the McCain campaign, people who have been involved in Republican politics. Now, the question is, will their attitudes make a difference? And what about the former Trump administration officials who are lining up to say they would never vote for Donald Trump? That includes, by the way, John Bolton, who won't endorse Harris, but who has said clearly that he will not vote for Donald Trump. The simple fact is that in the end, the American people make up their own minds. Endorsements may help on lower ballot issues, and I use as an example ballot measures in particular counties or cities or states where you look at who endorses something and you say, gee, I agree with those people, so I think I'll go along with them, because most people don't read down ballot arguments. So there is an argument to be made that if I were Kamala Harris running for president of the United States, I would understand that the people who are voting for Donald Trump are solidly for Donald Trump. And the people who are for Kamala Harris are really committed to Kamala Harris. And a very small group of people are on the margins. Now, this doesn't mean that an endorsement like Liz Cheney's isn't powerful. And I believe that Liz Cheney will be turned loose, as will Adam Kinzinger, on the campaign trail to make people aware of the fact that they don't trust Donald Trump to be president. Liz Cheney is very clear. In her mind, Donald Trump is a threat to democracy, pure and simple. Well, next Tuesday night, there will be a joint appearance. I don't know if we can call them really a debate, because it's really two candidates standing on the stage. One of the most interesting aspects of that is that Donald Trump and Kamala Harris have never met face to face. Remember, Donald Trump refused to attend the inauguration of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris because he claimed he won the election. It was stolen from him. Now, let's point out that in the last few hours, Donald Trump has said, well, he lost the election. It's the first time he's conceded that. It may have as much to do with a court case, which is being decided, or at least addressed today by Judge Chutkan, in terms of his clear statements in the past that that the election was stolen. And now his claim that, well, the election really was won by Joe Biden, but he's coming back. So now we wait and we watch as political developments continue to evolve. It all boils down to what happens, I think, on Tuesday night. All right, the microphones will be muted. There will be no notes allowed to be brought in. You can take notes when you're on the podium, so that's okay. But in the end, the American people are going to make a judgment. The judgment is, do they trust Donald Trump? Do they trust Kamala Harris? And will they vote for or against these two candidates? So I'm going to be watching, as you will be, the question of endorsements. But I'm also going to be watching the dynamic, which take place next Tuesday night on the stage. Now, wait, one more thing that I think is very important. In the end, this election may be decided as much by mistakes as by affirmative actions. The issues are clearly defined. And so what we must now look for, and we will do it every single day with you, is what mistakes Donald Trump makes, what mistakes Kamala Harris makes, and how that will influence the small number of people who may be critical in the key swing states. We will not see a national campaign, as we saw, say, in 1960, when Nixon chose to campaign in all 50 states in order to try to make it a national campaign. What we are going to see is intense attention on a few critical swing states. We'll be following that. We'll be talking about that with you. And I must tell you, elections always excite me, but this election, really something. Last comment, 3 cheers for Liz Cheney. She has courage. She has conviction. She's certainly not a Democrat, but she knows that Donald Trump is, in fact, a threat to democracy. Thank you for tuning into another episode of Around the Political World with John Rothman. I am John Rothman. Make sure to follow along and let me know your thoughts on the show by leaving a review on Apple Podcasts and sharing an episode with a friend or colleague so we can continue to grow and expand. And of course, that is our goal. Let me also express my appreciation to Gogo Zoger, the wonderful producer of Around the Political World with John Rothman. Who knows where we'll be tomorrow, but I can tell you, I will be right here with you. We'll be following events. Thank you for joining us.